The number one biggest ugly truth that I learned from 3 decades of picking up tens of thousands of women. And that number one ugly truth, you ready for this? Number one ugly truth is what women say versus what women do are always going to be 2 different things. They are always going to be polar opposite of each other. This is why whenever you hear a girl tell you things like, oh my God, he's such a dick, he's so impolite, so arrogant, so cocky, so full of himself, what a piece of garbage, oh, gross, gross. And then she ends up banging that guy. She ends up falling in love with that guy. She ends up crying at night over the guy. Where is he? Oh my God, he's not returned my texts. I know he's cheating on me. I know he's cheating on me. When the whole time it's like all she did was like bag on the guy. It's like, why are you banging this guy? Why are you so obsessed with him? He's obviously a piece of crap, like you said. Why are you so obsessed with him, girl? Oh, what women say versus what women do are 2 different things. Just like when a girl tells you like, oh, I just want to find a guy who's nice, who's good to me, who treats me right, shows up on time from our dates, brings me flowers, rubs my feet, stays home, doesn't go out with his guy friends every weekend, doesn't cheat on me, doesn't disappear. I just want that guy. And then she finds that nice guy, or you try to present yourself as that nice guy, which a lot of beta orbiters do, right? They try to present themselves as that if they're in her life. Like, girl, that's me. I'm going to treat you right. I'm the nice guy. I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to be there for you. I don't cheat on any of my girlfriends. I always come home right on time. I always text right back. I'm that guy, girl. I'm that guy. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you'll find somebody good for you one day. You know, and you're like, what's going on? I'm exactly the guy she described. Oh, she doesn't want you. Why? Because what women say versus what women do are always going to be polar opposite, okay? It's always going to be 2 different things. So never forget that, guys. It was the biggest truth that I learned about women. What women say versus what women do are always going to be 2 different things, okay? It was the number one biggest ugly truth I learned from 3 decades of picking up women. And you know when I started to have this epiphany, you know when I started to become aware of this, I actually started to become aware of this very early on. Probably in the first few years that I was doing game and pickup, way back in the 90s, I started to notice this. And I didn't want to believe it, right? I didn't want to believe it, but the more I noticed it, the more I was like, ah. And I just started using it to my advantage. And I still teach it to this day. Like when I teach guys, there's no such thing as rejection. A lot of guys who are blue pill or don't do pickup or game, they don't understand that. They're like, what? No, if she says she has a boyfriend, she has a boyfriend. You need to respect that. And it's like, what if she's lying to you? What if she's bullshitting you because she's using that as a time management tool to get rid of you and the rest of the chumps that approach her dozens of times per day, right? You begin to learn these things, right? Like when a woman rejects you, or if a woman like straight up tells you like, no, you're not my type. I'm not interested in you. You're ugly. I've even had a girl say that to me in field, ended up becoming obsessed with me. Nope, you're ugly. And I was like, that's like super mean. I was like, no, you're ugly. He's like, what do you mean I'm ugly? I'm not ugly. I'm like, no, you are. Not only are you ugly on the inside, you're ugly on the outside too. And you need to drop a few pounds and you need to get over yourself. You're not even that attractive. I started letting her have it, right? Started nagging her back. Because again, it's game, it's pickup. Game is a dance, right? It's a dance. It's like a ping pong game. You have to go back and forth. So I was letting her have it. And through that, she became attracted to me. She was like, wow, this guy stood up for himself. All right, and later on when we were dating, she told me that she told a number of guys that. And I'm like, you shouldn't tell guys that they're ugly, because it's pretty mean. And she was like, well, you were okay with it, and you got me. And I'm like, I got you, but you know what? I do pick up, I do game. A lot of guys don't, and they're gonna bury their heads in the sand for 6 months to a year. This is not what you say to other human beings, right? I go, especially with guys, we have such a big ego, this can affect us, right? And she's like, oh, it's so easy to get rid of them. I just tell them they're ugly. And I'm like, you shouldn't say that. That's really, really mean. And shockingly, she was kind of a nice person, like beyond that ugliness. She was actually pretty sweet. She would take me to dinner. She would pick me up. She would buy me gifts. I mean, she did do things like that. I mean, starting out from this really horrible, like, personality that I saw, she actually had a pretty good side to her. But fortunately, I was able to coach her through that, and she said she never did that again because she understood, like, yeah, you don't want to hurt people like that, right? Like, see, me as a pickup artist, I have to teach girls this stuff. But that was a situation too where what the girl says versus what she does are two different things. And that girl in particular was like, no, you're ugly. She was like, I actually thought you were cute, but she was like, you came off super cocky and I felt like I needed to take you down. And I'm like, that ain't your job, right? And I go, and if you want to take me down, because she's like, I thought you were super arrogant, I wanted to take you down. Which, by the way, guys, is a shit test whenever a girl does that. It's just a shit test. So she was like, I want to take you down. You seem too arrogant. You're like snapping your fingers as you were walking up to me, and I ain't no easy lay, and da-da-da. And she was like, I felt like I had to take you down a notch. And I was like, okay, fine. In the future, don't say that to guys. I'm like, just don't. Not just for hurting people, but your own safety. Don't say that to dudes. That was an extreme situation where the girl was like really nasty, and then she turned out to be a sweetheart, and she just didn't really have a whole lot of social calibration, which was kind of strange. But that was a clear example of what a woman says versus what a woman does. They just don't match, okay? And you need to remember that. So getting back to the rejection aspect of it, when a girl does reject you, a lot of times, it's a shit test, and you can't listen to what she says, right? And that is probably the biggest lesson I can teach you right now is just don't listen to what the girl says, right? Look at what she does. Don't pay attention to her words. Don't listen to her words at all. Pay attention to her actions. That is how you will see what she's about. That is all you need to do if you want to know, like, what's really up with this chick. I mean, even for you guys who are in these long-term relationships, right? You guys who are in these LTRs with these girls that are cheating on you, like, blatantly right in front of your face, and you're totally, like, oblivious to it, or you're totally trying to, like, rationalize that she's not cheating on you. No, she tells me she loves me, and she tells me she loves me every single day. She said, I'll always love you. And yet she's not coming home at night. She's disappearing on the weekends. She's going off to Vegas, doing a little girls trip with her friends. Look at her actions, okay? You have to look at her actions. Again, guys, do not listen to a word these women tell you. Don't listen to a word, a thing they say. Instead, pay attention to her actions. Because when you do that, believe me, you'll have, like, literally a mindset shift. And almost like an epiphany for how to attract girls. And by default, when a girl rejects you, or she calls you a name, or she tries to shit test you, you will no longer be affected by it emotionally. It can no longer get inside your head. You will no longer be reactive to it. You will no longer want to, like, grab your ball and go home, right? Instead, you'll be like, ha ha ha, I know what you're doing. I know what you're up to. I know this is just a shit test. I know that I could pass this. I know this is just a game. And you're engaging me, right? Because, I mean, going back to an old lesson of pickup is a woman is not going to shit test a guy that she doesn't feel has enough value to have the potential to be in a relationship with her or have sex with her. She's not going to, like, shit test a homeless bum living in a cardboard box, right? Instead, she'll feel sorry for that guy. And this is why I said I teach you guys that it's actually bad when the girl doesn't shit test you, when she doesn't throw insults at you, when she doesn't name call you. It's actually bad because she's showing that you're not worthy of being shit tested. Like, if you ever have a girl who's just, like, overly polite to you, like, oh, you're so nice, you're so sweet. Some girl's gonna be really happy when she gets you. Oh, you're such a sweetheart. You're such a sweetheart. But there's no like romantic connection there at all. There's no emotional, like, charged up emotional investment from her at all. Why? Because she just doesn't care, right? She doesn't care. So it's actually worse when a girl doesn't bother to shit test you. But just to wrap this up, guys, that is my number one ugly truth that I learned from 3 decades of picking up women is that what they say versus what they do is always going to be two different things. They're always going to be polar opposite of each other, and they are never going to match. And this is why you want to just cover your ears whenever you hear a girl talking. Just cover your ears and instead start paying attention to her actions. If you really want to know what she likes, what she doesn't like, what she's up to, what kind of guy she's into, what kind of guy she's not, pay attention to her actions. Forget what she's telling you. I don't care if you're in these LTRs, married to the girl, and she's feeding you all these sweet little nothings in your ear, telling you about how much she loves you, and I'm never going to leave you, I'm never going to cheat on you, yet she's like disappearing after work, running off to happy hour, taking trips to Cabo with her girlfriends, hiding her cell phone, hiding her social media. She's doing any of that shit? Again, pay attention to her actions, okay? Because her actions will never lie. A woman's actions will never lie, okay? And once I came to that epiphany myself, I was able to use that in field, in my pickup, in my game, like literally went whoosh through the roof, because I now understood, like, if the girl was throwing me objections, for example, like, oh, I got a boyfriend, or oh, I'm just not interested. You know, a lot of it was plausible deniability. She wanted you to kind of like take the blame for gaming her, to give her that plausible deniability so she could feel like not like a slut with the fact that she was about to go home with you. So remember this, guys. What women say versus what women do are always going to be two different things. And if you enjoyed that coaching video, don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell as well so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on my YouTube channel. And more importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Very important you subscribe. Helps me out a ton. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, and platinum pill content even further, best way to do that is to jump into 7 months of mastery. Right now it's only $1. So click that link below and it will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.